What's up, you damn gorgeous, beautiful gamers? Welcome back to role-playing games, this Mariel corner in the internet where we like to discuss about RPGs. If you like the content, if you like to have these conversations with Mariel James, I would very much like to invite you. Like always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Most of the time, we discuss about RPGs in here, you might actually find yourself comfortable in this place. That being said, this is a very fun build. Like always, I'll have timestamps on the video description as chapters and timeline in case you don't want to actually listen to all of this. I'll just give you a brief highlights on the build, some things, some details, important details on this specific build, but this was a subscriber's requested build. Lately, I have been posting way too much videos with Castlevania songs, so someone suggested that since I was actually already making that, then might as well make a Clan Belmont kind of hero character build. And it was quite a hard one to accomplish, I'm not gonna lie. To be able to make a build, a full whip build, viable enough to carry you through the whole entirety of the game, it's actually quite hard, but I managed to make it. This build is going to carry you easily throughout the entire game. You can see Ghost. You can see Ghost out there already. And I mean, if Konami is not giving us Castlevania, then we might as well turn our Elden Ring into Castlevania ourselves. So yeah, now, little disclaimers. I know that the Vampire Killer is mainly a one-handed whip, a one-handed weapon. And on the PvE Showcase, I was using it two-handed. That is because the damage output on this thing is not nearly enough to be able to use it on one hand. We're also leveraging Bloodlust build-up status ailment to increase our damage output and make this thing viable. So yeah, you're going to be using your dual Vampire Killer. I am also using, I'm cheating quite a lot, I know. I'm also using the Regalia of Eocade on one-handed dual wielding weapons. We're dual wielding this thing in case you encounter a boss that's resistant to Bloodlust. There are not many bosses in this game that are resistant to Bloodlust, but there are some of them that might actually resist it, and these things, they hit like a damn truck. They are nice. And also, I mean, mainly this thing ended up looking, I wanted to make it more like, look like a game, kind of the old games character, but it ended up looking like Trevor Belmont from Netflix anime show, so there's that. Netflix anime show Belmont actually uses a short sword. The original heroes do not, but I mean, the weapon art, you may think that this is a throwing weapon, which is a side weapon that the Belmont heroes actually do have. And if you want to be like more accurate, you could very well place daggers in here or a kukri and use this thing as a throwing weapon, and now you're basically Trevor Belmont from the original Castlevania games. But that being said, let's go to the stats of the character so that you can build this thing properly. Now this is a very min-maxing character. You will see right here that we're sitting on 125. I like to say that mainly for PvP purposes. I am a PvP player and I like to play PvP with my characters. If you don't actually want to, you could very well go to 150. I wouldn't recommend go beyond that because of connectivity gameplay. If you're mostly playing with your friends, then it's fine, you can go beyond that. But if you actually like to enjoy your connectivity, then stay on 150. That being said, bigger. We almost have bigger capped. Again, if you play some more levels, 10 points in here would be advised to reach that cap for health. Mind, we don't actually need that much mind. I am not going to be using any kind of skills other than the Regalia of Eocade one, but I don't actually use that much either. I mainly focus myself on the DPS capabilities that this build can make, so we're not actually placing any points into mind to min-max our character. Endurance, This is actually going to consume quite a lot of endurance. The whips, the dual wielding whips, actually do consume quite a lot of endurance, but you don't need that much. And also you do not need that much carry weight, because the gear that we're using for this character, and to stay on topic for the cosplay, you don't actually need to be wearing heavy gear. So strength and dexterity, you need them right there. Those are for min-maxing purposes, for gear purposes, to be able to use the weapons that we have. We don't have any points into intelligence nor fate. And oh boy, are we beautifully reaching our soft cap in arcane on 125 build. Take a look at that. This is a very viable build that is going to carry you through the entirety of the game easily, no problema. 125. If you want to do PvP with this thing, you can do so. If you want to go PvE with this thing, you can do so, because you have reached your max damage. So that is quite amazing. And that being said, let's move over to our gear and talismans, all that stuff. Strangely enough, when I was building this character, I was debating on what kind of affinity would I place this thing to make it more viable on my whips. They already have natural blood loss, and if you make a keen kind of build, you can reach B. Scaling and dexterity is going to give you 250 base damage, which actually quite leverages quite nicely that B scaling and dexterity, but your blood loss build up goes all the way down to 55. Blood affinity, on the other hand, gives you 115 blood loss build up, but it lowers your arcane scaling to D and gives you C scaling and dexterity. It also lowers your base damage, so you're not going to be leveraging that much of that C scaling. Strangely enough, and this is something that I just recently discovered, if we actually make it a cult, we have a B on arcane, which is gorgeous. It's beautiful, it's amazing. You also have nice base damage. It has higher base damage than that of the blood infusion, blood affinity, and the blood loss buildup does not go as down as we would think. It only loses 14 points, which ideally would be like 28, because we're dual wielding this thing. But again, 202 blood loss buildup, that's amazing, and it's going to proc quite a lot. As you were able to see on the PvE footage, like, it's going to proc per boss like 4 or 5 times, which is amazing, dude. The DPS capabilities that you can reach with this kind of build, it's crazy. Ashes of War, we're not actually using any particular. Granted, I know that a double seppuku would very much be more viable, more overpowered, but again, a double seppuku would not allow us to use whips. We cannot play seppuku on a whip. I know that double seppuku would be better, way better idea. It would deal quite a lot more damage. But as we're sitting right now with our occult infusion and our bloodlust buildup and our whips, I mean, we're Trevor Belmont, dude. We're Trevor Belmont, and we're dealing quite enough damage, more than enough DPS to carry you through the entirety of the game without any kind of issues. So there's that. That being said, let's move on to gear and talismans. Right now you'll notice that I am not able to use my Hustlow's Occult Petal Whip, and that is because we actually do use Radagon's Soul Seal right here. I know that this is a constant that has always been appearing in my videos, but dude, being able to have 20 extra levels in return for extra 20% more damage taken, I mean, I'll take it, dude. 20 extra levels, that's amazing. And again, we're min-maxing this character, so there's that. On the other talisman, we have Earthree's Favor +1. If you're able to have the +2 version, then do very much be welcome to do so. Having more health, having more stamina in this game, it's always welcome. So we're going to be using that. Also, this build actually drains your stamina like there's no tomorrow. So we're going to be using Green Turtle Talisman. To be able to dual wield your whips, you're actually going to be spending quite a lot of stamina. So you have to be mindful of that. And then finally, since we're going to be proccing our blood loss quite a lot, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which is going to give you plus 100 damage every time you proc build onto your enemies. Now, this thing actually is going to count as 200 damage because it's going to increase each of your weapons damage. So if we have 500 AR on our whips, it would increase it to 600 each weapon, so that naturally translates to 200 extra damage. And since your blood loss build up capabilities are so damn high, chances are that during the boss fight or any kind of enemies that you fight, you're always going to have this thing on. So it's never going to fade away as long as you keep the aggressiveness going. And if you have a Mimic tier that is also using a bleed weapon, then the boss is going to bleed like it's always on its period. So there's that, and you're always going to get that extra huge damage. Now again, as you will notice right here, we mostly look like Trevor Belmont from the Castlevania Netflix show. This is the Kaiden armor, and yeah, I mean, take a look at it, dude. Like, you literally do look like a Belmont right now. I know that it mostly resembles Trevor Belmont from the Netflix show, but it also sustains that kind of aesthetic or vibe that all of the Belmont clan heroes always have around them. So, I mean, like I said, you're turning your Elden Ring into Castlevania. You actually do look like a Belmont. As of our hands, we have Warrior Gauntlets and Warrior Grips, which have that white pants that Trevor Belmont again has on the Netflix show. And that is indeed basically everything that you need. Like, when you're exploring, you could very well have your sword in one hand and just kill people easily. Again, like the damage output that you have right here, it's going to be amazing. The range of the whip, it's actually quite nice, and it actually going to have a nice area of effect damage. When the enemy is clustered up, you will see that when I do that running attack animation, it attacks in a wide range. So if I see these guys right here, they are in fact going to die. If I see my enemies clustered in front of me, I can do a running attack. As you were able to see right there, I wasn't even running, and the attack, it's more than enough to deal with him. So the range of the whips, it's actually quite nice, and the tracking of this thing, it's amazing. So you don't actually have to be worrying about hitboxes, because as you can see, the whip, what it does is that it swings in such a wide area so that the area of effect or the hitboxes of the enemy are not going to be a trouble, like for example in some other builds where your sword goes on the side or the S-stock goes up your enemy. This thing, it's more often than not, it's always going to hit. So it's a very, very strong, durable build that will carry you through the entirety of the game. And you're Trevor Belmont. Like, what else would you like to be like? We have a dry edge on Castlevania games, and if we don't have Castlevania games with Konami, then we might as well play our very own Elden Ring Castlevania Symphony of the Ring, or something like that. Anyways, that is all for me, guys. Remember that if no one has told you today that you're a gorgeous and beautiful person, you are a gorgeous and beautiful person. Also, if you have a build that you want me to make, a favorite character cosplay thing that you would like to see here on Elden Ring, then do let me know and I'll see if I can make that happen. Remember to subscribe and like the video before you close the door, and I'll be seeing you damn gorgeous and beautiful people in the next one. Have a beautiful day, and goodbye.